Maya Johnson stared at her coffee like it held answers to questions she was too tired to ask. It didn't. It never did. Just lukewarm disappointment in a corporate mug that said, "Synergy starts here," in font too cheerful for a Wednesday morning that felt less like the middle of the week and more like the middle of a life she hadn't meant to settle into. Her desk was a monument to competent mediocrity. Files organized with color-coded precision. A potted succulent that somehow thrived despite the fluorescent lights. A framed photo of her college graduation, back when she believed speaking 3 languages and graduating summa cum laude meant something more than becoming the most overqualified secretary in a mid-tier consulting firm. Her boss, Mr. Chen, had summoned her to conference room A. No agenda. No warning. Just conference room A now in an email that arrived at 8:47 a.m., precisely 13 minutes after she'd settled into the comfortable numbness of spreadsheet maintenance and the third cup of coffee that tasted like resignation. Maya had learned to read the temperature of these summons. No pleasantries meant bad news. The addition of now meant very bad news. The choice of conference room A, the one with the windows overlooking the parking lot where people sat in their cars during lunch breaks, contemplating career changes they'd never make, meant the kind of bad news that came with HR witnesses and non-disclosure agreements. She grabbed her notebook. Professional until the end. 6 months ago, her fiancé Marcus had sat across from her at their favorite brunch spot, the one with the overpriced avocado toast and the Edison bulbs that were supposed to make processed food feel artisanal, and said the words that still echoed in quiet moments when she let her guard down. "You're married to your job, Maya. You're not exciting. You're just there." He'd said it kindly, which somehow made it worse. Like he'd spent weeks workshopping the gentlest way to deliver a character assassination. He'd pushed his untouched mimosa across the table, she'd paid for it, of course, and walked out with the kind of confidence that came from knowing he was leaving her, not the other way around. He'd left her with the bill, a half-eaten Belgian waffle, and a growing suspicion that he might be right. She wasn't exciting. She was competent. Reliable. The person you called when you needed something done correctly, but not creatively. The human equivalent of a well-made spreadsheet. Functional, organized, ultimately forgettable. Conference room A smelled like stale recycled air and broken dreams, with underlying notes of whoever had microwaved fish for lunch yesterday. Mr. Chen sat at the head of the table, flanked by 2 executives she vaguely recognized from quarterly meetings where they talked about disrupting the paradigm, without ever defining which paradigm needed disrupting or why it deserved disruption. The executives wore matching expressions of bureaucratic indifference, the look of people who'd made these kinds of announcements so many times that terminating someone's employment held the same emotional weight as ordering lunch. "Miss Johnson." Mr. Chen gestured to a chair with the enthusiasm of someone directing traffic. "Sit." She sat, notebook open, pen ready. Professional until the end. If they were going to fire her, she'd at least take excellent notes about her own termination. "We're loaning you out." Maya's pen stopped midair. Of all the ways she'd imagined this conversation going, that phrase hadn't made the list. "I'm sorry, what?" "Park Industries. Korean tech company, very prestigious. 6-month contract. Their American operations manager quit last week, quit spectacularly, I heard. Sent a resignation email that just said, 'I choose sanity,' and they need someone who speaks Korean." He said it like he was announcing a lunch order, not appending her entire professional life. "You speak Korean, correct?" "Conversationally, yes, but I'm not fluent enough for." "Perfect." Mr. Chen smiled the way people smile when they've already made a decision, and your input is decorative. A formality. Corporate theater. "You start Monday." Park Industries specifically requested someone with language skills, and he glanced at his notes. Someone who won't quit after 2 weeks like the last 3 temps they've tried. 3 temps in 2 weeks. Maya's stomach sank. That's not a red flag. That's a red billboard. One of the executives laughed. Actually laughed, like Maya had told a joke instead of pointing out the obvious. Park Industries pays triple our standard rate for contractors. You'll be making more in 6 months than you make here in a year. Money, of course. The universal solvent for red flags. "And when I come back?" Maya asked. Mr. Chen's pause was a second too long. We'll evaluate placement opportunities at that time. Translation: your job might not be here when you return. But that wasn't the point. The point was that loaning out wasn't a request. It was an order wrapped in the illusion of choice. Corporate gift wrapping on a package she couldn't refuse. It's a prestigious opportunity, Mr. Chen continued, his tone suggesting the conversation was over. Most people would be grateful for this kind of exposure. Grateful. That word again. The one managers used when they wanted you to accept something terrible with a smile. Maya closed her notebook. When do I start? Monday, 9 a.m. They'll send you the address. Mr. Chen stood, signaling dismissal. Don't embarrass us, Maya. Park Industries is a major potential client. Perform well, and it could benefit everyone. Meaning, perform well, or don't bother coming back. Maya's coworker Lisa caught her in the hallway afterward, eyes wide with the kind of gossip-fueled excitement that made open floor plans dangerous and privacy a distant memory. Park Industries? Lisa whispered, despite the empty hallway. Girl, do you know who runs that company? Some tech CEO, I assume? Maya was still processing, her brain stuck on 3 people quit in 2 weeks, on I Choose Sanity. Lisa pulled out her phone, fingers flying across the screen with the speed of someone who'd spent hours on this exact research. James Park, Korean tech prodigy, 34. Built a billion-dollar company before he turned 30. And she turned the phone toward Maya. Look at him. The photo showed a man in a perfectly tailored suit, the kind that cost more than Maya's monthly rent. Sharp jawline that could cut glass. Eyes that looked through the camera rather than at it, like he was already calculating something more important than the photographer's existence. Handsome in the way Renaissance sculptures were handsome, impressive but cold. Perfect but untouchable. He's also supposedly a nightmare to work for, Lisa continued, swiping to an article titled Seoul's Most Ruthless CEO Brings His Empire to America. Goes through assistants like tissues. 3 quit in the last 2 months. 1 lasted 6 days. 6, Maya. Great, Maya muttered. Exactly what I need. A hot robot with a revolving door of traumatized employees. But triple pay, Lisa pointed out. 6 months of triple pay. That's, she calculated quickly, enough to finally leave this place. Start over somewhere better. Start over. The words hung in the air like a dare. That night, Maya sat cross-legged on her couch, laptop balanced on her knees, falling down a research rabbit hole that started with James Park CEO and spiraled into 2 hours of articles, interviews, and increasingly concerning Reddit threads from former employees. The articles painted a consistent picture: brilliant, ruthless, efficient. A man who treated business like warfare and emotions like unnecessary software updates that slowed down processing speed. One Forbes profile called him the Mozart of mergers, a genius who saw patterns others missed but couldn't understand why normal people needed things like lunch breaks or weekends. At 25, Park inherited a failing electronics company from his grandfather. One article read, within 3 years, he'd pivoted to AI and cloud computing, making the company profitable. Within 5, he'd made it indispensable. He doesn't have competitors. He has companies that haven't realized they're already obsolete. Another article focused on his personal life, or rather, the absence of one. Park arrives at his office at 5 a.m. and rarely leaves before midnight. When asked about work-life balance, he seemed confused by the question. Life is work, he said. Everything else is just waiting. Maya found a video interview from a tech conference. James speaking in rapid Korean to the moderator, then switching to flawless English mid-sentence without pausing or changing his completely neutral expression. His voice was deep, precise, each word selected with the care of someone defusing a bomb or navigating a minefield of potential misinterpretation. The American expansion represents not emotion but calculation, he said to the off-screen interviewer, his face betraying nothing. Business is mathematics. You input resources, you receive returns. Feelings are irrelevant variables that introduce error into otherwise predictable systems. What about your employees? The interviewer asked. Don't they have feelings? They have contracts, James replied. Feelings are personal. Business is professional. The confusion between these categories causes most workplace inefficiency. Maya paused the video, his face frozen on her screen. Cold. That was the word everyone used. Cold, calculating, brilliant. A man who'd achieved everything by 24 that most people dreamed of achieving by 50, and who seemed utterly uninterested in enjoying any of it. The Reddit threads were worse. Worked for Park Industries for 3 months. One post read, most brilliant boss I ever had. Most soul-crushing experience of my life. He's not mean. He's just absent. Like working for a very polite algorithm. Another. Park once corrected my email formatting 7 times. 7. Not the content, the formatting. The spacing between paragraphs. The font size. The margin width. I cried in the bathroom and quit the next day. And another. He's not a bad person. I don't think he's capable of being bad. That would require caring enough about something to want to destroy it. He just doesn't care about anything except efficiency. One headline made her pause. Seoul's most eligible bachelor expands empire to US. Will American market submit? Submit. Maya said aloud to her empty apartment, to her half-eaten takeout, to the succulent on her windowsill that was somehow thriving despite her benign neglect. What kind of colonial bullshit? She clicked anyway. The article was a puff piece, clearly written by someone paid to make corporate expansion sound romantic. It included photos of James at charity galas, always alone, always in perfectly tailored suits, always with that same neutral expression that made you wonder if he was capable of smiling or if his face had simply frozen that way after years of calculated indifference. Park has never been publicly linked to anyone romantically, the article noted. When asked about relationships, he deflected. I'm married to my work. That relationship is sufficiently demanding. Married to work. Maya thought of Marcus, of that brunch conversation, of you're married to your job. Maybe she and James Park had something in common after all. They were both married to the wrong things. Maya closed the laptop with more force than necessary. Great. A hot robot with no personality and a track record of destroying people's will to live. Just what I needed for my career pivot. But 3 times her current salary. 6 months. She could endure anything for 6 months. Couldn't she? Monday morning arrived with the inevitability of taxes and hangovers. Maya stood outside Park Industries' U.S. headquarters, a sleek glass building that looked like it had been designed by someone who thought warmth was a structural weakness. The receptionist barely looked up. Mr. Park is in conference room 1. He's been waiting. Maya checked her watch. She was 7 minutes early. Conference room 1 was all windows and sharp angles. James Park sat at the head of the table, fingers flying across a laptop keyboard, the clicking sounds precise as a metronome. He didn't look up when she entered. 30 seconds passed, then 60. Maya stood there, feeling increasingly ridiculous, wondering if this was some kind of power play or if he'd genuinely forgotten she was coming. Finally, without looking up, you're late. I'm 7 minutes early. I arrived 20 minutes early. Now he looked up, and Maya felt the full force of those dark eyes she'd seen in photos. In person, they were more unsettling, intelligent, and assessing. In my culture, early is on time. On time is late. In my culture, Maya said before her brain could stop her mouth, 7 minutes early is professional. 20 minutes is showing off. His eyebrow rose, just 1 millimeter of movement that somehow conveyed volumes. Interesting interpretation, Miss Johnson. He stood, and she realized the photos hadn't captured his height. He moved around the table with the fluid economy of someone who never wasted motion. Your responsibilities, he said, pulling out a tablet and swiping through documents. My calendar, all correspondence, liaison with U.S. partners, translation services when needed. Working hours are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. minimum. Often later. Maya took notes, her professional mask firmly in place. I don't do small talk, James continued. I don't do office politics. I do results. Can you deliver results, Miss Johnson? Can you treat people like humans, Mr. Park? The silence that followed felt like standing on ice, hearing it crack. James studied her for a long moment. I've gone through 3 assistants in 2 months. Maybe the problem isn't the assistants. Something flickered across his face, surprise, maybe, or annoyance, then disappeared behind that neutral mask. Your desk is outside my office. We start in 10 minutes. He walked out, leaving Maya alone in the glass room, wondering if she'd just made a terrible mistake or the first honest decision in months. The first week was war. Monday, James corrected her email formatting 3 times. She rewrote it perfectly the 4th time. He said nothing. Tuesday, he conducted a call entirely in Korean, speaking so rapidly that Maya's conversational Korean struggled to keep up. But she took notes anyway, every word she could catch. After the call, he glanced at her notepad, went still, then looked at her with something that might have been surprise. Your Korean is better than I expected, he said. It was the first compliment he'd given anyone in her presence. Wednesday they worked until 9 p.m. He ordered dinner for both of them without asking her preference, Korean fried chicken, perfectly crispy, with exactly the right amount of spice. It was, irritatingly, exactly what she would have chosen. Thursday, she caught a mistake in a contract, a clause that would have cost the company $3 million. She brought it to him, hands slightly shaking, expecting him to be angry that it had slipped through multiple reviews. He read it, fixed it, looked at her. Good catch. 2 words. That was all. But something in his tone made her chest warm. Friday he left at 6 p.m., the first time all week, and paused by her desk. You don't have to stay late tonight. You've performed adequately this week. After he left, Maya sat in the empty office and laughed. Adequately. High praise from the robot. Friday night, Lisa dragged her to drinks. So. Lisa leaned forward, eyes gleaming. Is he terrible? Is he impossible? Did you quit yet? He's demanding, Maya said carefully. Barely speaks. Never smiles. Corrects everything I do. But. There's no but.
Maya.
I've known you. For 5 years. There's always a but. Maya swirled her wine. The work is interesting. When he's not micromanaging, the projects are actually fascinating. He's expanding AI integration into. She caught herself, heard the enthusiasm creeping into her voice. Lisa grinned. You like it? I like the work. Not him. Uh-huh. Is he still hot in person? Irrelevant. So yes. Maya changed the subject quickly. 2 weeks in, everything shifted. They were working on a presentation for major investors. 10 p.m., the office empty except for them and the cleaning crew that had learned to work around Maya's desk like it was a permanent fixture. Her stomach growled. Embarrassingly loud in the quiet office. James didn't look up from his laptop. When did you last eat? Lunch. I'm fine. You're distracted. Hungry people make mistakes. He pulled out his phone, typed rapidly in Korean. I didn't ask you to. Consider it a business investment in your productivity. 20 minutes later, food arrived. Korean fried chicken banchan, perfectly steamed rice. The smell made Maya's mouth water. How did you know I like Korean food? She asked. You have a loyalty card from Han's Kitchen visible in your wallet. Deductive reasoning. They ate in silence. Maya watched him between bites, the way he used chopsticks with unconscious precision, the slight tension in his shoulders that never quite relaxed. Do you ever not work? The question slipped out before she could stop it. James looked up, genuinely puzzled. Why would I do that? I don't know. Hobbies? Friends? Fun. My family built this company from nothing. His voice was matter-of-fact, but something underneath, vulnerability, maybe. Fun is a luxury we couldn't afford. First real glimpse of the person behind the CEO mask. You can afford it now, Maya said quietly. James met her eyes. Really looked at her for the first time since that initial interview. Can I? The question hung between them like smoke. Next morning, Maya made a mistake. Double-booked his calendar, 2 critical meetings at the same time. She stared at the screen, horror dawning, knowing 3 assistants before her had been fired for less. Mr. Park, I'm so sorry. Fix it. She looked up. He wasn't angry, just watching her, waiting. Everyone makes mistakes, Miss Johnson. The measure of competence is how you solve them. So solve it.
She did.
Rescheduled both meetings, made both parties happy, turned a disaster into a diplomatic victory. Later, after she'd handled it. Well done. Something in her chest loosened. He wasn't cruel. He was exacting, but not cruel. There was a difference. The Korean moment changed everything. Video call with the Seoul office. An investor speaking rapid Korean, and the translator app kept glitching, missing crucial context. Maya jumped in without thinking. Translated fluently, catching not just words but cultural nuances, the formal speech patterns, the subtle implications. After the call ended, James was quiet for a long moment. Did I mess up the translation? Maya asked nervously.
No.
He studied her like she was a puzzle he'd just realized had more pieces than he'd thought. You translated perfectly. Even the cultural context. Where did you learn Korean? College minor. I wanted to work internationally. Thought the language would help. She shrugged. Then life happened and I ended up here. You wanted more. Not a question. A statement. Doesn't everyone? Not everyone admits it. He was still looking at her with that assessing gaze. You're underutilized in your current role. Before Maya could respond, he turned back to his laptop. But something had shifted. She felt it in the air between them, electric and undefined. 2 days later, James called her into his office. We're going to Seoul next week. Investor meetings. Pack for 5 days. Maya's heart jumped. Your Korean is better than my translator's. And you understand the American market perspective. You're coming. Professional opportunity. That's what this was. Just professional. So, why did her pulse race? That night, Lisa's reaction. Girl. 5 days in Seoul with Mr. Handsome Robot? This is a romance novel waiting to happen. It's work, Lisa. Just work. Keep telling yourself that. Seoul hit her like a wall of humidity and possibility. Private jet. Maya tried not to be impressed, failed completely. James worked the entire flight, occasionally glancing at her when he thought she wasn't looking. She caught him once. Their eyes met. He looked away first. Landing at Incheon, a driver waiting with their names on a tablet. The city spread before them. Ancient palaces and glass towers, tradition and technology colliding in beautiful chaos. In the car, James switched entirely to Korean, his posture changing subtly. Shoulders tighter, expression colder. You okay? Maya asked quietly. He looked surprised she'd noticed. This city has expectations of me. The hotel was absurdly luxurious. Separate rooms. Maya felt both relieved and disappointingly disappointed. Dinner with my parents tonight, James said in the lobby. You'll need to attend. I'm just your assistant, won't that be? You're my colleague. They'll want to meet you. He paused, and for the first time she saw uncertainty in his face. Fair warning, my mother is traditional. The restaurant was traditional Korean, private room, floor seating. James's parents were already there, his father warm, his mother ice. His mother spoke only Korean, each question a small test. Maya answered respectfully, feeling assessed like a piece of art at auction. Your Korean is adequate for a foreigner, his mother said. Thank you, Maya replied in Korean. I'm still learning. His father laughed, clearly charmed. His mother's expression didn't change. Then in Korean, thinking Maya wouldn't understand, she's not suitable. Too independent. Too American. James, also in Korean. She's not here as a candidate, mother. She's here for business. His mother. Everything is business with you. When will you think about your future? About family? Uncomfortable silence. Maya pretended she hadn't understood, smoothly changed the subject. Walking Maya to her room later, James said, I apologize for my mother. She wants what's best for you. She wants what's traditional, not necessarily what's best. They stood at her door. The moment stretched. Thank you for tonight. You handled that with more grace than my last 3 assistants combined. They met your mother? They quit immediately after. Both almost smiled. "Good night, Miss Johnson." "Maya," she said. "You can call me Maya." His pause held weight.
Maya. Good night.
Her name and his voice did. The investor meeting was crucial. The investor was also condescending, dismissive of American expansion, making subtle digs in Korean about James's foreign ambitions. Maya jumped in, defended the expansion strategy in fluent, business-level Korean, used cultural references and market data, made the case James couldn't make himself without seeming defensive. The investor's expression shifted. Impressed. The meeting ended successfully. Outside, James stopped her. "That was my job. That was extraordinary. You didn't just translate. You advocated. You had a good strategy." He was being an ass. James almost laughed. "Did you just call a senior investor an ass?" "In English. So technically it doesn't count." He did laugh, then real, genuine, transforming his entire face. Maya's heart skipped. That night, Maya couldn't sleep. Found herself on the hotel's rooftop terrace at midnight, souls sprawling below like scattered stars. She wasn't alone. James stood at the railing, still in his shirt and slacks, tie loosened. First time she'd seen him less than perfectly composed. "Couldn't sleep either," she said. "I don't sleep much. Too many thoughts." They stood in comfortable silence. The city breathed around them. "Can I ask you something personal?" James said. "That would be a first. Why did you become a secretary? Your skills are far beyond that position." Maya hesitated. The truth felt too vulnerable. But something about the darkness, the distance from home, made honesty easier. "Someone told me once that I wasn't exciting enough, that I was just there. I guess I started believing it, stopped reaching for more." James turned to her. "That person was a fool. You don't know me well enough to say that. I know you learned Korean because you wanted to work internationally. I know you catch contract errors million-dollar executives miss. I know you defended me to an investor without hesitation. I know you're brilliant, but treat your job like it's temporary."
Pause.
"You're not just there, Maya. You're the most capable person I've worked with." Her eyes stung. "Why are you being nice to me?" "Because someone should have been saying these things to you all along." They stood closer now, close enough that she could see the exhaustion in his eyes, the vulnerability he usually hid behind perfect composure. "I should tell you something," James said quietly. "My mother is arranging meetings with potential matches. Women from appropriate families." Maya's stomach dropped. "Oh, I'm expected to marry well. Expand the dynasty. It's not about love. It's about strategy." "That sounds lonely." "It is." He reached up, almost touched her face, stopped himself, dropped his hand. "We should go inside. Early meeting tomorrow."
Right.
Professionalism. They walked to the elevator in loaded silence. At her floor, Maya exited. James stayed inside, hand holding the door. "For what it's worth," he said as the doors began to close, "if I could choose."
The doors closed.
Maya stood in the hallway, shaking. Back in the U.S. office, everything was different and exactly the same. James was professional, distant. Maya was careful, maintaining boundaries. But the tension was obvious. Coworkers noticed. "Did something happen in Seoul?" they asked. "Just work," Maya said. But she caught him watching her. And he caught her watching him. The air between them crackled. The email arrived on a Thursday. Job offer from a competitor. Senior marketing director. Significant raise. Actual title and respect. Maya stared at it, knowing she should take it. Lisa's reaction. "This is amazing. You're taking it, right?" "I don't know." "What's there to know?" "Unless." Realization dawned. "Oh my God. You're in love with him." "I'm not."
Maya.
"I've known you for 5 years. I've never seen you look at anyone the way you look at him." Maya's eyes filled. "It doesn't matter. He has obligations. Family expectations. I'm just his secretary. You're not just anything. And if you can't see that, take the new job. Choose yourself." Maya decided to tell him. Professional courtesy. She approached his office, heard him on the phone. speaking Korean. His mother's voice on speaker. You're meeting Jiwoo next month. Her family is suitable. She's educated, appropriate, traditional. Mother, I don't. This isn't a debate. It's your duty. What about that American girl? Your assistant. Long pause. Maya held her breath. Maya is an employee. A very capable employee. That's all. Good. Don't complicate your life with inappropriate attachments. Understood. Maya backed away, heart shattered. Returned to her desk. Opened her email. Subject line. 2 weeks notice. Hit send before courage failed. James saw the notification. Went completely still. Walked to Maya's desk. My office.
Now.
Inside, door closed. You're leaving. I received a better offer. It's a good career move. What company? Does it matter? Yes.
Why?
I'm just an employee. A very capable employee, but still just an employee. He realized she'd heard. Maya. You don't owe me an explanation, Mr. Park. This has been a great learning experience. I'll train my replacement thoroughly. I don't want a replacement. You'll find someone adequate. She turned to leave. Don't go. Maya stopped. Didn't turn around. Give me one good reason.
Silence.
That's what I thought. She left. James stood alone, finally letting himself feel it. Panic, loss, grief. James met his friend David, the CFO, at a bar. Ordered whiskey.
Rare.
You look terrible, David said. She's leaving. Your assistant? Hire another one. She's not just, he stopped himself. David's eyes widened.
Oh.
You're in love with her. I can't be. My family. When did you become your family? I thought you moved to America to build something of your own. It's complicated. It's only complicated because you're making it complicated. Do you love her? That's irrelevant. That's the only relevant question. James sat in silence. Then, quietly, I've spent my entire life meeting expectations, being the son they needed, building the empire they wanted. For once I want, his voice cracked. For once I want something that's mine. So, take it. They'll disown me. And if you don't, James met his friend's eyes. I lose her. Sounds like you've already lost her. Question is, are you going to fight to get her back? Late that night, video call. His parents on screen. I need to tell you something, James said. I'm not meeting Jiwoo. I'm not doing arranged meetings anymore. His mother started to protest. His father raised a hand. Let him speak. I'm staying in America, building this company my way. And I'm pursuing a relationship with someone I care about. The American girl? His mother's voice was ice. This is unacceptable. Your grandmother married for love, his father interrupted quietly. My parents opposed it violently, threatened to disown her. She married him anyway. They were happy for 50 years.
Pause.
I wouldn't exist if she'd been obedient. James stared at his father. Your mother and I, ours was arranged. We've made it work. We're content. But sometimes I wonder what it would have been like to choose. His father looked at him. Is she worthy of you? I hope I'm worthy of her. His father smiled. Then bring her to Seoul.
Properly.
Let us meet her as your partner. The call ended. James sat in stunned silence. Then moved. Maya's last day. She packed her desk, trying not to cry. The office gathered, word having spread. James walked in. The entire floor went quiet. Miss Johnson. A moment. Mr. Park, I've already said goodbye. You'll want to hear this. He stood in the center of the office, everyone watching. I'm terrible at this, he said. At feelings. At words. At anything that isn't work. So I'm going to be direct. He looked at Maya. You were right. This couldn't happen while you worked for me. The power dynamic was inappropriate. So I accepted your resignation. You don't work for me anymore. Maya stared. What? Your new company offered you senior marketing director. I can't match that title, but I'm offering something different. Partner. Co-director of U.S. operations. Equal stake, equal decision-making, equal partnership. He handed her an envelope. And separately, completely separately, unrelated to business, I'm asking if you'd have dinner with me. Not as my employee. Not as my colleague. Just as James. A man who's been miserable for 2 weeks without you. A man who finally chose what he wants instead of what's expected. The office held its breath. You called your mother, Maya said. How did you? Your tie is crooked. You only mess up your tie when you've had a stressful call with your family. He looked down. She was right. What did she say? She said to bring you to Seoul.
Properly.
As my partner. Maya's eyes filled. You told them about me? I told them I was choosing you. That I was choosing my own life. That's the most romantic thing anyone's ever said to me. I'm still learning how to do this. Romance. Feelings. Being human instead of efficient. Maya crossed to him. We can learn together. Is that a yes to dinner? That's a yes to everything.
They kissed.
The office erupted. When they broke apart, James whispered, the partnership offer is real. By the way, I need someone who'll call investors asses in Korean. Maya laughed. I never said that. You were thinking it loudly. 6 months later. Conference room. Maya presenting strategy to the board. A confident, commanding, brilliant. James watched, proud but trying to stay professional. After the meeting, a board member. Your co-director is impressive. Best hire you've made. She's not a hire. She's a partner. Later, in James's office. Maya reviewing contracts. James brought her coffee, made exactly how she liked it. You're spoiling me. I'm appreciating you. There's a difference. His phone buzzed. His mother, video call. Answer it, Maya said. I should properly meet your family eventually. He answered, switched to video. His mother noticed Maya immediately.
Ah.
The partner. Maya in Korean. Hello, Mrs. Park. It's nice to see you again. His mother almost smiled. Your Korean has improved. I'm practicing. James helps. He would. He's precise about everything. His father appeared on screen. Are you coming for Chuseok? Your mother's been cooking. James looked at Maya. Would you like to go to Seoul for the holidays? Meet the family officially? Terrifying.
But yes.
His mother. Good. I'll prepare the guest room. His father. She doesn't need the guest room, dear. She can stay with Ji-hoon. His mother's face, scandalized but accepting. After the call, your dad basically just gave us his blessing. James pulled her close. He likes you. He thinks you're good for me. Am I? You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. Even better than a successful Q3? James, completely serious. So much better than Q3. Maya laughed.
Kissed him.
They stood together in the office they shared, reviewing work, comfortable and equal. Partners in every sense. Some legacies were inherited. Others were chosen. And some were built together, one honest conversation at a time. The end. Thanks for watching this journey unfold. If you enjoyed it, drop a like and subscribe so you never miss our next story.